Hi everyone, this is Jackie Murray with Ask a Tech Teacher. I'm your guide through these 32 lessons in the first grade technology curriculum. We're on lesson 17. This is reading on digital devices. Now, this is very basic, maybe is the right word. Lots of students probably already read digital books rather than print books. This is just going to give them more details on how to do it right and where to find some of those books, especially if you have a collection you use in your school that you want them to go to a certain place to get those digital books. This is your chance to introduce them to those places and help them maneuver through it. So close reading is kind of a new skill for kindergartners. They read, they don't think that much about what they get out of it. So you're going to address close reading. When we read to understand and remember. Vocabulary, probably nothing new, but you look through it, see what you think. I think all these are pretty basic. I can't find the story. I can't hear the story. Classroom is too noisy. There we go. Kind of the usual things. So essential question and big idea relate and very nicely to reading stories on the internet. And your assessment strategies is a lot about anecdotal observation. You want them to successfully read on a digital device. So you're going to observe for that, and you're going to want to see that they can access the class digital library if there's one of those available. So you're going to want to confirm those with them. So very anecdotal assessment, very formative. Know what students have learned in class about identifying story parts. So those are the things you address. We're going to get into that a little later in this lesson. So it'll be important that you've prepared yourself for that. The rest are kind of basic. You want the story websites or links to the websites available for students. Okay, since they're going on the internet, as you do every time they go on the internet, review how to be good digital citizens, that they keep to themselves, they don't talk to strangers, they don't click links that aren't part of the today's class lesson, those types of things that we've covered in earlier lessons. So there are two options in this lesson, so you can decide which works best for your students or do both if you have time. Internet-based reading. So a part of the internet-based reading is getting from a link into a site, maneuvering through the site, like this one with stories in it, and then going back to wherever the original spot was. That's part of tabbed browsing. They click here, they go to the home page with all the links on it. They click a link, it probably opens it in a new tab. And then once they're done with that, they go, and now what do I do? Well, go back to the tab and click that. Sometimes it'll be a back arrow if it didn't open a new tab. So just cover that with them. And here are some places you can find websites or iPad sites for reading. Now, I probably wouldn't just give the students access to these by themselves, only because they're all words. They're not colorful. There's probably too much reading for students. Plus, you want to look and find the ones that work perfectly for your students. So go through these lists, pick 5 or 6, and then put them on your internet start page for students to access, and then let them independently click through those links as they need to. One will definitely be Starfall, though. That's just great reading site for kids. And once you've picked a couple that you want students to go to, do show them how. Just show it to them. They won't remember all of the steps, but some of them will remember enough that they can get through it and feeling independent without having to put their hand up and wait for help. Let them know what you want them to concentrate on while they're reading. Like these are out of Common Core for kindergartners. You may have a separate list that your grade level team has developed of things that you want them to be aware of when they're reading. This is kind of an idea of what they're going to look at when they're reading. They're going to not give out personal information, not get distracted with bling. So this goes along with what we discussed earlier when we were talking about review the internet. Okay. Do encourage students to access whatever vocabulary decoding tool you have. Now, there are a variety here you can go into. A lot of sites on the internet, you can right click. You might have an app installed on your browser that lets them bring up a definition as they're reading it. It might be a right click, it might be a double click, whatever it is, let them know what that is. There's also standalone tools like Kids Wordsmith, Merriam-Webster for Kids. These would be on their desktop, on their device, and they would show them how to quickly access that site, look up their word, and move on. You want it to be something they can do in just a couple minutes so they don't completely lose track of what they were reading. It won't work that way their first couple times, but it will as they get better. So no time to start like now. Okay, guided reading collections are if you've signed up for a collection like one of these and have these stories available, then show them how to access these groups that are available in their class. And I think subtext is gone. That's too bad. I like that one. But the rest are great. And then tell them what you expect out of them, how to access, how to use these. They tend to be a little more involved, but it definitely make it age appropriate. So at their age, it might be, you might make it simply reading and then answering a couple basic questions. For an exit ticket, have them share the big idea of one of the stories they read with a neighbor. Give them an example of what a big idea would be. Very quick, pithy, short, one sentence, no ums and ahs, and includes character setting, plot, whatever you decide is what you want to be the big idea, the summation of the story. And that's it. Let's see if we've got anything in the first grade workbook in case you're using those. And this is scrolling. This is good point. You'd be surprised how many kids don't remember scrolling or don't know what scrolling means. So they'll look at this and they'll go, there's only 2 stories. Well, remind them, scroll down the page. Click the mouse wheel and roll it up or down, and that does this. The page in the internet terms is not the screen. It's the entire length of the scroll bar. Now you can see mine over here. Mine's not very big. There it is, just a little bit extra, but lots of times. Oh, there, look at this one. My page is this entire thing. That happens to be the whole book, but there's the scroll bar. So that's a really good thing to remind them. That's a little trick that'll make a lot of sense to them. I think that's it. All right. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Otherwise, have a great week. Bye.